The following interview is with Serge Van Elsacker of Serge Van Elsacker Loft in Schilde, Belgium. I first met Serge and his wife Kirsten in 1990 when I was 3 years old when they came to Oklahoma for a visit, and got to reunite and meet them again in 2022 when I got to go over to Belgium and visit Serge, and he did a great job showing me around and introducing me to some of the top lofts in Belgium. We had a great hour-long conversation talking pigeons, about his history, some of his methods with old birds, young birds, and with his breeders. It's really a lot of fun to get to talk to someone like Serge with all of his experience with 56 years in the sport, being many times the king of the Antwerp Union, which is one of the toughest places on earth to race pigeons, especially at the top of the race sheet. If you want to see more interviews like this one, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and please leave a comment. Thank you. All right, well, I appreciate you doing this, Serge. I'm really looking forward.
No problem.
And I just want to, let's start at the beginning when you were young. I know you told me this back when I got to visit you in 2022. We were driving around and you told me you got your start with a pigeon loft that you found on top of a building, right?
That's right. Yeah, my parents bought a shop. They bought a store there, and the previous pigeon fancier, the owner actually from the store, died, passed away, and his son tried build a new house and a new loft about 20 miles further, and he tried to break the pigeons up to the new loft, but they keep coming back. It was not. The father was a fancier, and the son tried to do the hobby then, but it didn't really work. And so he couldn't get the pigeons broken, and then he said, "I'm going to get rid of the pigeons." So I asked him, "Can I have him?" I was 10 years old then. He said, "Ask your mother." If she said it's okay, it's fine with me. Mom said, "Okay, just do it." I tried about everything else, I think. So she said, "Probably pigeons for another month, and then it's over." But unfortunately, 56 years later, I still have pigeons. So
yeah,
and that's how I started. Yeah.
So you started at 10. So when did you go from just caring for the pigeons to actually joining a club, competing and all that?
I tried to join a club immediately, but problem was I was too young in the beginning. But then they figured it out, and I could join the club. I joined the club actually when I was 11 or 12. But I did not do anything decent. I didn't know how to raise pigeons, and I broke. In the middle of the season, I started changing the lofts and the boxes and things like that. So it was not good. Till I became 16, then I started really. I had in school then a pigeon fan. One of my teachers was a very good sprint guy, and he said you should do this, should do that, go to the vet, check your pigeons. I did that, and from 16 years old, every year I won something. Sometimes I won a lot, and sometimes I won just a few things, but I always won something, and that's how it started. It's now 50 years.
What's the name of the town you grew up in where this loft was?
Merksem. It's about, I live in Schilde now.
Right.
I don't know if you ever heard of Ryan Klook. He was from Merksem. He was very famous in the Antwerp Union. Was several times king of the Antwerp Union, and then that village, that was a very good pigeon village. There were 10 great champions in those days in that village. Now there's nobody left there. Everybody's gone, and no pigeon. Hardly a few pigeon fanciers, but nothing really good. But in those days, it was really, really one of the top villages of the Antwerp area. Really.
So what changed for you when you're 16? Was it just trial and error, learning from, making mistakes and getting better? Did somebody, I know you said your teacher was a good fancier. Did he give you birds, or how did you improve?
Well, yeah, he gave me birds, but my parents also moved to Schilde then. And my father built me a loft in the backyard, and I started there, and I drove around, and I learned to know some fanciers, and one of an old fancier became a very, very good friend of mine, and he was a good fancier. He was not, how should I say? He didn't teach me much because he couldn't teach me much. He didn't know much himself, but he had good pigeons, and he won a lot, and he flew good, and so I went there racing and things like that, and then. But since then it worked okay. But then a few years later, 2 years later, I think, or 3 years later, I was able to rent the house next to that fancier. It was from his son, and his daughter, from his son-in-law and his daughter, and we became neighbors then, and I raced there. Then there I became king in the Antwerp Union, and from there it was a loft. If you put a parrot there, it would win a race. It was a great loft. Pigeons were always 100% in condition, really, really good. And from there it started. He helped me, and then William Geertz moved around. He came to our village in, I think, 78, no, 78, 79, 80. And he really, really killed everybody. Oh, he was so good. From the first year he started, he destroyed everything. And I became good friends with William, and William taught me things. And I bought a few pigeons for William, and that's how it just went on and on and on.
How old were you when you met him and he started helping you?
I think I was 17 when I met William. And William was about 15 years older than me, I think. And but the minute he came to our village, he really, the year after, he destroyed everybody. He won everything. It was unbelievable. He lifted the village to a higher level, because all the other fanciers realized, we have pigeons, but that's about it.
Right.
We don't have good pigeons, because here comes a guy out of our area and really killing us. So they all start to buy the same pigeons, and that were in those years were actually the Muleman pigeons.
Mm-hmm.
Because actually Mulemans was raised at Adriaan Wouters lofts in Arendon, and Carl Mulemans was a breeder. But then Adriaan Wouters died on the same day that his Olympic pigeon, the Mercs, died, and the pigeons were auctioned here in the next village in Weinigem. And then several of the people here in Schilde, one bought 16 children from the golden couple. Another guy bought, Willy van Berenum bought a lot. Good pigeons. Maurice Bonten is the man I'm talking about. You know it, your father knows the story.
Yeah.
He was here. Maurice Bonten bought those from the golden couple, all then, and two other fanciers, and they start winning the year after immediately. And I got I didn't have the money to buy the original. I didn't have the money to buy really the expensive pigeons, but Maurice Bonte who bought the 16 in the original auction. He helped me a lot, and there I bought my really first good pigeons. Really good. They bred the 23, the Weasel, they paired to the Weasel, they bred 23, the Derby, the Lange Blauwe, the Shelley. It really got me started and made me king of the Antwerp Union that year. Really good.
And tell people what the King of Antwerp Union means. What does that mean?
The Antwerp Union was at the moment I was king in the Antwerp Union again 2 years ago. Not 23, 22, and there were still 337 members. And it's Antwerp Union is not sprint. It's only middle distance, great middle distance, long distance, and young bird, old bird, yearlings. It's with nominated pigeons. And it's all the races over the whole year. It's very hard to win. It's a very tough competition you have to do. But winning that at my age of I was 28, and I only had 20 widowed cocks, 2 old birds, and 18 yearlings. It was never done before. And it
right.
was. And then in those years, because it's 28, it's 37 years ago. It still was, I think, maybe 1,000 members. And it was really tough competition, and that's how it started. I won it. I had the ace pigeon, was champion of the old bird middle distance, and the year after I was champion of the old bird middle distance. I had the ace pigeon, had the Olympic pigeon, and boom, it went off.
And so, how do you decide? Obviously, you said that in your area there, middle distance is kind of what people do. How do you decide what distance you want to specialize in? Is there a preference that you have personally? Do you have to go off birds, or is it based on club? How do you select what distance you want to specialize in?
Yeah, I think I got the influence from William Geertz, I think, because before William Geertz came to Schilde, it was more sprint, middle distance, like my old neighbor that I talked about. He sent then 2 pigeons to the middle distance. He did very good. He had 2, a male and a red one. And every week, either the red one or the male was really early, win first prizes. He did very good. But globally, it was more sprint. And then William came and he went right off to the middle distance. And then he actually, I think, You know, middle distance became so popular in our area, and we were so good at it that a lot of all the best fanciers raced the middle distance.
So
And all the pigeons that I purchased, that I bought, were middle to great middle distance pigeons. Never I bought sprint pigeons. I'm not interested in sprint. I was never interested in sprint. Now it's a hype. Everybody wants sprint pigeons, but my pigeons won from 150 miles just as easy as all the sprint pigeons. But they can go to 600 kilometers or 600, 700. You can go to 450 miles. That's sprint pigeons. Most of the sprint pigeons can't do that.
right, and I have my miles to kilometers here, so I can stay with you on that. Let's tell people the sprint. What's the distance for a considered sprint? What's
Well,
the mileage?
sprint here, we start racing. I think the second or third week of March every year, the sprint starts, and that's 65 miles.
Okay.
And that race is organized every week until half of October. Every week, 65 miles. Then second week in April, the 65-mile race is still there, but also a 150-mile race comes to it. From that day on, so second week in April, we have 65 mile and 150 mile every week. Like I said, 65 mile till October, 150 mile till the second week in September, right?
Right.
First week in May, the middle distance comes to it. So from that day on, from the first week in May, we have 65 miles, we have 150 miles, and we have races over 200 miles every week till the second week in September. From the third week in May, the great middle distance joins it. So we have 4 races then: 65 mile, 150 mile, 200 mile and up, 300 mile and up. And then from half of June, the long distance comes to it. It's 400 miles and up. And so we have 5 races every week if we want to participate.
And for you personally, what are you participating in?
I'm participating middle distance, great middle distance, long distance.
So if you wouldn't participate in the sprint?
I participate in the sprint, like the 65-mile race, I only do as a trainer.
Training, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Because if I get them home, they don't come in. And it's like these guys who does that every week, the birds are so trained, the birds are so selected, it's like rockets. Mine are not. But from 150 mile I participate, I usually win the race.
Right.
But I only do it twice with the old birds, and then they go on to the middle distance. So they never race a sprint anymore that year.
You use it as a training early.
Yeah, I have to do it. I can't jump from nothing to 250 miles.
Right, exactly. And so because of that, your birds get that early training, and your birds are used to the middle distance. So when they come home from 65 miles, they're not ready to go in yet. They still have a lot of energy and still want to fly. Is that?
Yeah, it's also just my feeding. I feed as much as they want.
Right.
Every day, the same mixture, never depurative, never light, never from light to heavy, never from less to a lot. Always let them out, pick out, and after an hour, take the food away. So if they come from 65 miles, they really have energy left. But I'm not interested because when we do the 65 mile, also with the young birds, we have to start with 65 miles. All my young birds that fly top at 65 miles, by the end of the season, they're gone. Right. I don't know why. I have no idea. But if they're really early on 65 miles, they're usually no good pigeons for me because they all stay out on 300 and 350 miles. So it's a different selection. If I would keep, let's say we race next year or 3 years in a row, we race only 65 miles, I would change my feeding, and my selection would be different. Now now if they win, let's say I have a super crack that wins 65 mile, win the first, 150 mile, win the first. All those sprint people would keep him there. I'm not keeping him in there. He can't be as good as he is. He's going further because I'm not interested in that. He has to go. And if he can't do the distance, he stays out. He's gone. Right. That's the way it is here. And that's the selection.
Right. So what with your this time of year, you're breeding youngsters and you know, race season's coming up. What is your routine right now in the mornings when you're working with your breeders and getting your young birds lofted and everything? What are you doing in the mornings now? And then, and as we go into more racing season, how does it adjust a little bit?
Well, you've been here in the summer when we were out, when we were racing and things like that. But in the wintertime here, we have the last race last year, 14th of September. From 14th of September till today, not a pigeon has been out. Never. Not an old bird, not a young bird, nothing. My young birds, I built a little aviary on top of the big landing board, and they're out there every day from morning till evening. It's been a few years since I've done that, but last year, after 5 days letting them out, I already lost 20 young birds because of the attacks from the hawks and everything. So I tried to decide to do it different. Now, in about a week, I will let my old birds out here every 2 days and let them try easy, because I have to let them out. We're starting slowly. But I clean the loft, I feed the pigeons, and that's about it. My old birds don't get any food in the morning now because they don't fly, they don't go out. They only get fed once a day. My young bird I feed in the morning a little bit to learn to get them out and in. And in the evening they get as much as they want, but in the morning I keep them a little hungry just to do that. The feeders, the breeders get fed, watered, and that's about it. There's not so much work at the moment. If I was able to let them out, I would let them out every day. But then I think my team is half. When I do that all winter, I have nothing left. So
The hawks are the
we
big
cannot
problem.
do it otherwise. Yeah.
Hawks are a big issue. So at what point do you let the young birds out? When do you feel comfortable that they're ready to go out? What is your point? You say, okay, they look ready to me.
Oh, when they come out, they look ready to me. So usually I open the board and they come out. But now I have a little aviary built on top of it. I told you, I open the loft morning at 8:30 and they're all out. And they're out all day. In like at 12 o'clock at noon, they go in. At 12:30, they're out again. 1:30, they're in. 2 o'clock, they're out again. So they are ready, but I'm a little worried to take the aviary away yet. So I'm gonna do it another 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And then my second round is weaned. Then I'm gonna put the aviary on top of the board of the second round, and I'm gonna let the first round out. But if the hawk gets in between them and in the first 2 days that the aviary is gone, I will have a problem because they really can fly already. So,
right.
But we will see. Last year was such a pain. I could not leave the loft, and if I left them for a minute, the hawk was right in between them. Last year was terrible. First day I let my old birds out. He took the ace pigeon from the year before. The second time I let him out, he took my second best hen. So that was really tough. I told Kirsten I don't want to do this again. I'm going to do it differently. If it works out wrong, well, I have the trouble then in 2 weeks, but at least I had a month more quiet life.
Right. I understand. So in the morning when you're taking care of your breeders this time of year, what are you giving them? Feed, supplements, products, grits? I know
well, they're on the second round babies from, I banned the second round already. So they get as much food as they want, all breeding mixture. In the water are sometimes vitamins, sometimes average rest plus apple cider vinegar, something like that. They get minerals every day, and that's about it. That's about it.
What's
every day practically the same.
What's your grit mixture? You showed me when I was there, but I think it's a really good way to go about it. I think people would benefit from knowing about that grit mixture.
Yeah, I mix normal grit. I mix minerals. I mix what's the name? The black. Oh, I'm getting old here. I'm mixing egg food under
egg food, yeah.
I'm mixing Vitalit. That's the one I was looking for. Vitalit. It's a black powder. It's like a kind of herb mixing under it. And then I also give another mineral to it, and that I give every day fresh. Most of it they throw it out and it disappears through the grills, but they can pick what they want, and the babies really grow very good. The droppings are fantastic. and the young birds look wonderful. So that's why I do every day. The mixture is everyday breeding mixture, which I put pellets in, the Koopman pellets with animal protein. And just like that, every day I feed, when they have babies like this, I have to feed 3 times a day because I can't keep feeding enough. And I have to water them three times a day because the drinkers are empty.
Right.
But that's every day about the same. On the food, I don't do anything anymore for the last 3 years. Nothing.
And as far as whenever you're breeding, how many rounds do you let your breeders raise?
I try to raise 5 rounds. I breed 3 rounds for myself that I let out. I'm racing, and then I breed 1 round to put in the aviary, and then I breed another round from the best couples that I move the eggs, give different hands and change and things like that. And try. Normally they breed 5 rounds. Some of my best couples breed more with different hands. The hands mostly 5 rounds. That's it. I don't like hands 6, 7, 8 rounds. There are people that say let them lay. If they're empty, they're empty. Yeah, but I like. My 2 best hands are now 10 years old. I haven't paired them up yet. Last year they lay perfectly. I hope they will lay still, but they're 10 years old. I think if you let them lay 8, 9, 10 times a year, they don't get 10 years and still lay. So that's why I like.
Too much.
Is it an advantage? I don't know. It's my point of view, and I like if I have a real fantastic hen, I like to take her alive as that she produces as long as she can.
Right. Do you use any fostering pumper pairs, anything like that, or do your breeders raise their own young every time?
My breeders raise the youngster, but then here some clear eggs, and there's some broken eggs. Then I move eggs from my best under that.
Right.
But I don't have a section like you said. These are extra pumpers. No, I don't have that.
So
No.
if there's a pair that has clear eggs, that's when you decide, okay, I'm going to move under them.
Yeah, I'm going to move from that good pair up to there. If it's a good pair, I'll let them lay again immediately, because that's if they're clear, I have nothing from them, and don't let them raise other pigeons. But if it's just a young breeding pair that I don't have much from it, I just put eggs for my best under it, and then I usually give the old cock, the breeder, another hen, move those eggs, and then give his old hen back. And then do the normal cycles, just like every fancy do.
Right.
Nothing special.
So since you specialize in the middle and greater middle distance, if you were to go to an auction or go to someone's loft, what are you looking for when you're holding a pigeon? What do you like in your hands that you're feeling? What characteristics, what traits are you looking for in pigeons?
I would go to a loft or to an auction from pigeons that I admire, that I say, Jesus, this man racing fantastically. There I would go. I like a model like my pigeons are. You handle them, you have them.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, there's not much you can see on a pigeon. I can pick the 5 most beautiful in the auction, but it doesn't mean they are the 5 best ones. Usually, if I like the fancier and he's doing fantastically, I'll follow his advice. He knows his pigeon best. If he helps me, I have no success with him, then I had bad luck. If I'm going to pick him myself and don't listen to him, who am I to know his pigeons? I don't.
Right.
He knows his breeding, and if he wants to help me, he will do that. People need to want to give him to you. Otherwise, you can spend as much money as you want, and everybody has beautiful pigeons. Everybody has big pedigrees. Everybody has everything, but we breed a lot of bad pigeons. Everybody does.
Right.
And unfortunately, we need to breed so many to breed some good ones. And
so you start with looking at results of people that you admire and you like their results, and then you talk to them and try to figure out what they feel is the best route to take on purchasing something.
Yeah, I try that. Yeah. Usually
So
I try. Or if they're connected to some auction sites and they have an auction on that side, I talk to them and say what should I buy and this and that. What I don't like, and I had it myself a few times, and I don't think it has anything to do with the real value of the pigeon, but it's something it's in my head and it bothers me. It's open vents.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
it drives me nuts, drives me crazy. I hate it.
So
And did
open
I have
vent,
some winners with it? Yeah, I had some great pigeons with it. But I had some great pigeons that bred it further and further. So all the next generations had it, and they had it, and I hate it. So I select on that. If I would that, so if I have a super champ, I'll try to breed from his children that don't have it. Yeah. So if I would add pigeons, definitely I'm not going to add pigeons that I have open vents. That I hate. Terrible.
some of my audience are newer flyers. They may not know what open vent represents. Is that a weakness in its back? Is that
No,
what do you describe an open vent?
It's the vent bones under the back. They have two little bones there. If you feel with your fingers there, and it's something I feel first. It's first I feel it's like, yeah, it's like an obsession, and maybe I should not do it, but I can't help it. If I have youngsters that I separated and they have open vents, you feel it. I put a band on the other leg to know this one was not good when I weaned it.
So
99% out of 100%, I have to kill it anyway. The vents don't close. If they don't come out of the nest closed, they don't close anymore. Does it mean the pigeon don't can fly, can win a prize? I don't know. I think so. I think they can. But I have so many pigeons. I have so many with closed vent bones that I don't keep the one with open vent bones. And I try to avoid that. But at the end, only the result decides.
right.
That I must the health of the pigeon and the results that decides.
So how does the vent bone being a little bit open affect its ability to fly? And what do you think it does?
I don't know if I don't know if it affects the ability to fly. I don't know that, and I'm sure if you go to auction site, if you can click open vent bone, closed vent bones. If you click closed vent bones, you're gonna be surprised how few pigeons from that auction will still be on there, because a lot of pigeons have open vent bones, and I find it more and more people seems to breed them. And even from the fantastic races, what I do find is that the pigeons that fly further, the long distance pigeon, the national winners, the national pigeons that fly 500 miles, 450 miles, they all have closed vent bones. So I think it has more to do that they can go further. But I think for the sprint, it has nothing to do. It's just something in my head.
Right. I get what you're saying.
And maybe it's something just in my loft that maybe it's my obsession.
Right. I understand. We all have our preferences on what we look for.
But I hate it. I don't like it anymore. And I try to avoid it if I can. If I have a young bird that wins 5 first has open vent bones, we stay on the loft, stay in the racing team. I don't think it will ever get in my breeding loft, but definitely it stays on the racing team.
Right.
But if it's young out of the nest and it's not like I think it should be, I kill it. It can come from the best couple I have. I don't want it. I don't waste my time anymore with that.
I understand. Well, I just had Rick Martis on. We did a fun interview, and he talked a lot about meeting you and spending time with you over there, and you guys flying together. And he told me a funny story about you both were kind of nervous on race day, and Kirsten had to say, "You both are nervous. You both are nervous." You know. So, can you talk about when you met him, how you guys developed your friendship? Because I think it's a special friendship that you all have developed over a long time, right?
Yeah, but I was very young then, and Rick was young, and Rick came over from the United States. There was something special to buy pigeons, but he didn't came to my loft. He came to a friend loft for me, and then to Andre Roto's loft, but I became king of the union then, and so I wrote him a little letter that this was me, and we met, and I think it went okay, and we were friends, and then he wants to come over and race pigeons, and my backyard was big enough. I said, let's try it on the super long distance. We did great. But then it was too much work for Rick. It was too much work for me. So we decided to stop that. And I should have kept those pigeons, but I could not. In those days, too much work. And then if you have to do everything, you probably don't do anything, not everything right. So I thought maybe I stay to what I know best and do that right. And then do everything half. And so we stopped that, but we had good times. We had great races, and we had a good friendship. And I looked for him. A lot of pigeons I found for him for CBS, and a lot of those pigeons that I found, maybe I have an eye for it. I don't know. Bred winners, really winners. They were really good with it.
Well,
So
when I went over there to Belgium in 2022, Rick obviously said you need to call Serge and have him help you. And so you and I went around, you took me to some of the guys that you know, and what I have brought in has already been successful. The birds from you, the birds from Marcel Verkamen, you know, they're already breeding me winners. So I think you do have an eye for it, but you also study results. I think you really pay attention to what's happening. And I think that's important for people, is to study in their area who's doing well, what are they flying, what type of pigeon, and learn from that result wise, right?
yeah, and I think it's also important. You have people that does fantastic, and then you hear he has pigeons from him, nothing. He has pigeons from him, nothing. He has pigeons from him, nothing. Doesn't mean the man gave you bad pigeons.
Right.
It just mean probably, or maybe he has so hard handling pigeons that he can handle it, but all the other fanciers don't have luck with it. So I also look, people have luck with those pigeons, people have luck with these pigeons, people have luck with that pigeons. If you go to those fanciers, and then you have more chance that you have luck with them than if you go to fanciers that nobody has luck with. But not everybody know what I know, because I'm here. And I hear it and I see it and I read it every day. Your people over there only get what people want them to know, and what people want to tell you. And you're a little bit disadvantaged on that part, because it's different, huh?
I think that's one of the cool things about some of the social media like Facebook, is that there's a lot more awareness on what's going on over there compared to, you know, Rick used to have to get the old newspapers to see results, and then you have the big sites that promote certain people, and then you have Facebook that kind of tells you, okay, here's what's going on. So I personally have learned a lot from getting online and seeing some of the results that way, but without that, it would be very difficult to know what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, and then also with Facebook and social media, not every fancy. We
It's
are an
on there.
older. We are an older audience, eh?
Yeah.
We are older people. I'm actually not on Facebook. My wife does the Facebook sometimes. She loves it. I never go on Facebook. I never put anything on it, and a lot of those fancy never do. And then if they don't do it, the only people that does it are people that can make money out of it, and they don't put those on because they cannot make money of them. So Facebook is okay. You know a lot more than you did before, but
Right.
you still don't know everything.
Right. No, and that's the big advantage for me when I went over there, to be able to learn from you and to, you know, get your advice on where to go and who to talk to is such a big deal. So anyone watching that does plan to go over there, you need to contact Serge, and you know, he can help
Thank
you. And so I really appreciate all the help you gave me over there, and it was
No,
it was an unforgettable experience.
No, it was gladly done. It's not always successful, Jeff. You know that too. We're not in it, and pigeons have to go to 2 month, 3 month quarantine before they get to you, and it's not so simple, huh? To be honest,
It's not simple to get them from there to here, but what I did notice when I was there is you and I have a very common, we like the same kind of pigeon. So I think I was very comfortable whenever we were holding birds, because you were liking what I was liking, and we had a good, uh, we both had that type of pigeon that we liked, to where I felt good when I liked something and you liked it. It made me feel good that I was making a good choice. And then when you bring them here and finally get them, the results are showing. When I cross these pigeons into my bloodline, when you cross them, you're getting the two great families of birds crossed into each other. And that's really been effective already. I mean, and we can move into one loft, but there's a race in Texas called the Flying D. That's a big race here in the States. And I had a hen that was from my bloodline crossed onto your Speedy Wonder bloodline. That was first from 150 miles, equal first 200 miles. And then on the final, after doing so well, those first two on the final from 400 miles, she was 31st against 309 pigeons, which to do that in a one loft is very difficult for a pigeon to be successful all those races in a row. And I think that speaks volumes to the quality of pigeons that you have, and how well they cross in. I mean, they're super.
Yeah. On one loft, the experience in the United States and the experience in the other countries is way higher than we have here. We don't have one loft races, and we only can learn what you guys do with them, and how they act in the one loft race, because hardly anybody here does one loft races. And we also have to send them then to Africa or to Egypt, or because in the States we cannot participate, they have to go to quarantine, and we hardly can get them in USA in one-off races. That's not possible. But you people are high into one-off races, and you have a lot of experience, and you will know what's good. You will find out what's cross as well. So,
Yeah, and you know, in Belgium, you all have such an advantage with having so many people close together, and you know, your clubs are still good size. I know they aren't what they once were, but here everybody's so spread out. One
yeah.
loft is more and more popular. Luckily, where I am, we still have plenty of people that I can still compete here, but it's definitely something that is big in the United States. And how many people are in your area that you compete with just in your club that's close?
Well, our club is about what's our actual radius from our club? We had 106 members 3 years ago, but we only have now about 92. Some of them passed away, some of them stopped, and things like that. We still have 92 members on an actual radius farm. It's 6 villages together, but villages are small compared to the United States. So I would say 15 miles north-south, and I think 10 miles east-west in that actual radius. I think it's we have 80 and so members.
And whenever I was over there, you had a race that day, and you, for people that don't know, you had at the time, it may have changed now, but at the time you had a neighbor on the back side of your property and right next to your property. And for us in the United States that are more spread out, that's pretty wild to think about that. But I remember you and I spotted the birds coming in, and they circled once, they came down, hit the landing board, and went in. And I remember your neighbor was standing on his deck with his arms crossed, and he was just kind of looking, and you know, you had birds way before they did. And so it's a funny story that I enjoyed at that time, because you were getting the birds in way before, but it's just a different kind of competition over there with how many people are close. And you know, you really have to have the blood and the training to, you know, proper care to.
Yeah. But it's getting less and less here too, and that's why we have to finally we will have to go race further. I don't see it happening here, getting into one-off races, but what I do see here, the distance that we're going to compete with is going to be 350, 400, 500 miles. And then we participate all Belgium, and then we still have enough time. We have 10, 15,000 pigeons, and then we still have nice races. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be the thing the way we're going to, I think, because people passing away and then stopping with the sport, so we're getting spread more. The country is smaller than your country, but eventually we will have to go race further and get more, the boundaries bigger, because we won't have members enough.
So would you in that scenario have to combine with the Netherlands, the Holland, and things like that eventually, do you think?
Oh, it's not. I think maybe when I'm gone, it will probably happen in the future. I don't see it happening in my life, because the Belgian Union says no Dutch people are allowed to join the Belgium. The Dutch say yes, the Belgium can compete with us. Some German people compete in Holland, but they all live close to the Dutch border. And the Dutch Union say yeah, it's allowed. The Belgian Union say no, it's not allowed. So Dutch can compete in Belgium, but Belgium some that are allowed can compete in Holland. So, but I think do another 30, 40 years, I think that will end. But we compete now on the international, on the bigger races. We compete with France, Luxembourg, Germany, England, Holland, France, and Belgium. We compete with 7 countries. And that's sometimes 20,000 pigeons, sometimes 18,000 pigeons, but that's all 500 miles and up. And those are beautiful races, and that's international competition. That's beautiful, but that's a big actual radius for the pigeons. Eh? I mean,
yeah,
there's a minimum distance that, because France, when they let compete all France, they can compete for 50 miles, and we are 700. That will work.
Right.
So the minimum, they don't have a maximum. So the top of Holland is racing like 200 miles further than we do. and they compete, and they compete very, very well on the long distance races. They have great pigeons. But I think finally it will work. But you can't do that on a 50-mile race or 65-mile race. You can't do that because that won't work. But on 500 miles, you can do it. And 600 miles, you can do it. And that's, I think, we're going to get there finally. Or we're going to race with 50 pigeons, and that's no racing. We
Right.
don't like that.
Right.
We like 1,000 pigeons and more. We love that.
Yeah, that's the exciting times for sure. So whenever old birds is coming up, or for you, you're going to have young birds and old birds. But with the old birds, you do a lot of loft flying.
Yeah.
What do you expect for them, loft flying wise? How much time do they need to be out flying? What are you looking for as they're flying in the sky? Do you look at their form? What are the kind of things the things you're looking for when they're loft flying?
Oh, when I let them out, I like it. I like them to be gone for 10, 15 minutes. That's enough. And then when they come back, they have to have speed, speed, speed. The time early 20 years, 25 years ago, it was different. They one went left, one went right, up, and they were happy in the air. That part is gone. They train more now. They train with speed, and they train with young birds. More stay in the flock. Has it something to do with the hawks, with the falcons? I don't know. But the training of the pigeons in over 20 years changed. Now the racing of the pigeons over 20 years changed. We race a lot more harder than we did 20 years ago. 25, 30 years ago, I raced a week, then a week off, week off, week off. Now we race every week for 17 weeks. It doesn't depend what's happening, but they're going. And we race 300 miles and up, and every week. So, and some people, some real good fanciers, they even push them a lot harder than I do. So it changed. But if you let them out, they're gone for 15 minutes, they come back, they're happy, they go with speed. And half an hour is enough because they go every week to a race. And the races, once we get into May, the races are always 200 miles and up. So they don't have to train much in the week, but a lot of people go train with the car on the road. I never do that, I don't do that.
Right.
Because I'm stuck in traffic, and maybe I'm too lazy to do it. Possible that it has something to do with it. But I always believe if they want to win, they have to win like this. Like I wanted that they win. I'm not gonna buy an extra car and ruin my car to win a race. If they can't win like this, well, bad luck then. So, but they still seem to do it. So.
And how much time does your young birds, when they finally get lofted and they're starting to fly, what are your expectations when they're flying?
When they're flying and they're good and they're separated, once they're together, they fly in the beginning good, and I want them to fly an hour and more. And what I actually like to see them doing is routing. How do you call it?
Routing. Yeah, routing.
That's hard because the groups are 100 young birds, and it's hard now. The young birds are darkened, and they don't route so much. So we have to be careful once we start training. But when they're trained and they're good and they're separated, the cocks and the hens, well, they're gone an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, and then they're really top. And that's what I want them to see doing. If I take them training, they're gone 30 minutes on the wing. If I let them out, they're an hour and a half on the wing. So I'd rather let them out and see how good are they. If I have them on the road, I know they have to be there in 35 minutes. Usually they will do that. But how good are they? I don't know. It's not for me. I don't have a feeling from how good are my pigeons. Let loft flying, see how they act, see how they do. Then I know how good they are.
Right.
But young birds has to do a lot more and do a lot more than the old birds. The old birds, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, I'm happy.
Good. Yeah.
In the beginning of the season, an hour, because they haven't no races yet.
Right.
And they're full of power. But once they start racing every week, and sometimes in the middle of the week, I do, like in the beginning, I do another 65-mile in the middle, Wednesday. And then they go Sunday, Wednesday, and then they don't need to train that hard around the loft.
Well, let's transition into a couple of breeders. Can you talk about the Phantom that you purchased in that story? Because he's been a big impact on your loft, right?
He's been a big impact because he bred Speedy Gonzalez and was second national place pigeon. He bred Victoria, who was a great pigeon. He bred Baumiski, who was the mother of the 3rd national age pigeon. Victoria became the mother of the 5th national age pigeon. And I bought them online on an auction site. Online, very cheap, €150. There were 3 pigeons that I bought from that loft. And I sent them over to Rick Martis. I bred youngsters and sent them over. And but then I got Speedy Gonzalez, and I thought, ooh, such a crack. So I called Rick. I said, Rick, I have something special here. He said, that's no problem. I'll send him back. Oh, he sent him back over. I don't think it will work now in these days, but in those days it was possible. And thank God to Rick, he sent him back. And it's been a great impact in my life, really great. But it was not special when I called the fancier. It was a pure Vandana Bela. And when I called the fancier, they said, I bought a pigeon from you online and it's breeding fantastic. He said, what number? I said, that number. He said, it's not for my best ones.
Wow.
I said, wow. I said, but it's doing unbelievably good. Yeah, he said, they're a little bit too deep, too big. But he really did good. Really did good. It's really fantastic. And his children bred good, his grandchildren breeding good, and the line's still going good here. So.
And what are you flying right now as far as what's working for you currently on your race team? What's the pigeons that are your kind of highlight of your team currently?
One of my best ones was a spree, and she won 9th first. Well, I will start with the beginning. Beyonce is one of the best I have. She's from 2014. She was 5th national age pigeon. Her mother came from Phantom. She was a half sister. It was Victoria. She was a half sister of Speedy Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
She was 5th national age pigeon. I took a late bred from her, put her in the stock loft, never raced, never did anything. He bred Esprit. She won 9th first. She was ace pigeon Antwerp Union, a real fantastic pigeon. I have a son from her, put in the stock loft, never raced. He bred 162 Ida. First ace pigeon Antwerp Union 2023, second ace pigeon Antwerp Union 2022, 7th first. So it's that line still going. I also had very good from a German friend, and those are my pigeon crossed with the pigeon from Günther Prange, the old Delbars and Koopman Janssens. Right. And those are fantastic. They have 5 sisters, they all bred winners. And those are fantastic pigeons. That's still the line that does it. They have a good pigeon from Norbert Ali. Half brother 1st national Montauban. I have Elimar is a very good breeder. He's a pure Vandana Bela. Really Vandana Bela pigeons. Also through Rudy de Saar. Did very, very well here. Very well. Very good.
What year was Speedy Gonzalez? What year was he?
2008.
2008. Okay, and then Speedy Wonder.
The number he's right in front of me. 6092226 from 2008. And he was fantastic. He was, as a young bird, one of the worst young bird I ever flew. He won nothing. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Not one prize, nothing. But he was so beautiful. And I thought, well, I needed cogs, let's keep him. Then as a yearling, he was from like 215 kilometers, 150 miles. He was 6 minutes ahead. Then he was 5 minutes ahead. And then another race, I sent 92 pigeons. I think I sent the whole loft. I clocked him. It was an east wind on the head, beautiful sunshine. I clocked him and I had to wait 4 minutes. Nothing. 92 pigeons, 150 miles, nothing. And then they came, boom, 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 boom. I think I won the first 8. He was 4 minutes ahead against my own pigeons. And then he did it again in the Union. He was 7 minutes ahead. He was the fastest of 10,900 pigeons, Antwerp. He was a fantastic pigeon, Olympic pigeon, national age pigeon. And, that was a fantastic pigeon.
Well, that's what I tell people about one lofts is that if you would have sent him to a one loft, you might think, well, he's not a good pigeon. But if you fly a bird, sometimes birds are good for one lofts. They mature quickly. They're ready. Sometimes birds take a year. One of my best breeders was very bad as he was late a lot as a youngster, but as a yearling he won 2 firsts from 300 miles. And I just think sometimes pigeons need a little bit more time to mature and develop. So a one loft pigeon is very different than a pigeon that is racing in a club from the development.
Yeah, probably. And for me, my young bird racing, I do my best, I do good, but young bird racing is not my important thing. I always raise my young birds with my thoughts for next year.
Right.
So I have a different selection. What I don't like, I kill. I tell you that. It's a good one. I don't know. It's a bad one. I have no idea. Probably the chance being a bad one is 95 times higher than it's a good one. But what I don't like, I kill. But what I can't handle, what don't do what I want them to do, I kill. But sometimes I keep one like Speedy Gonzalez that did nothing, but I liked him. He did what I wanted him to do, but didn't want anything. But I still keep him. If I only would raise young birds, I would have raised him. I would have killed him because he was not in my system. Now my idea is with all birds and yearlings to perform the best. Also do good with young birds, but all the yearlings is my main goal. And so my selection is a little bit different. And like you said, if you only do one loft, a lot of those pigeons would be dead because they would be out.
Yeah, and you would have missed out on Speedy Gonzalez and what he's done as a breeder.
Yeah, but you would have missed probably on a lot of pigeons. But
right.
like I did now with like Esprit, you want to first 5 minutes ahead as a young bird. So I thought, ooh, something special, and then a few more prizes, and then finally she went 9th first. Beyonce, her grandmother, as a young bird, 1st and 2nd. I thought, oh, something special. She did it again, won 5 first. Ida, she won as a young bird. I won the first 4. She was 5 minutes ahead of my second pigeon, 600 in pigeons, 150 mile, which is no distance. She was 5 minutes ahead. I thought something special. She was an ace pigeon Antwerp Union last year, ace pigeon Antwerp Union this year. Sometimes they do, most of it, the hens show it. The cock sometimes as a young bird, no. You have to, sometimes you have great cocks, and then they do anything as a yearling, and then they do it back as a 2-year-old. Why? No idea.
Right.
But the hens, most of the good hens really show it as a young bird already. Right. I think, like you said, they mature quicker.
Yeah, and that's what's amazing about pigeons is it's not a perfect science. There's a lot of things that factor in.
It's not, and I think you must have a feeling and live a little bit in your own loft and see this is happening, and respond on that. And I think then you probably make a lot of wrong decisions, guaranteed.
Right.
I killed a lot of pigeons that I should have kept, and I kept a lot of pigeons that I should have killed a lot earlier, because we all let us guide sometimes by our heart and not by our sense. Right. But it's different. You have to act sometimes and think, oh, could be a good one, and you see how he acts, you see how he does in the loft, and then the year after it, boom, there he is. And then sometimes a great pigeon as a young bird do nothing anymore later. So it's no science, absolutely not.
And one of your best pigeons the past 10 years is a son of Speedy Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Speedy Wonder.
Speedy Wonder.
And what I like about Speedy Wonder is there are people who say you don't want to buy any pigeons or you don't want to breed out of pigeons that didn't race. Let's talk about Speedy Wonder and debunk that, please.
Oh, I breed a lot of winners out of pigeons that never raced. I breed really, really winners out of pigeons that are in racing crap, no good. But they're sisters and brothers of the best pigeons I have. And by accident, they didn't do anything in racing. But what I do a lot is put from my best ones, immediately put them in the stock lot and breed from them. They don't have to win. They don't have to fly. A lot of good racers never bred a chicken, and they flew. But a lot of pigeons that they haven't fly anything, they haven't won anything. They've never been in the basket, never been out of the loft. We're really fantastic breeders because they came from the right ones, and they have the genes probably with them, and it's the family I want, and I want to keep it. I don't want to lose because if I lose a father, then it's out. The line stops. If I put that youngster immediately in the stock loft, the line goes further. But Speedy Wonder, I had a fantastic hen in those years. Wonder Girl, she was on the PIPA ranking first of Belgium, and finally I sold her to China. And I thought before she goes to China, I have to breed something, and I put her to Speedy Gonzalez. Only one egg was good. It was Speedy Wonder. Put him in the stock loft, bred 5th national egg pigeon, bred 8th national egg pigeon, bred 8 first 8 pigeons. Fantastic breeder. Never saw baskets from inside. Never was out of the loft. Never. And he's from 2013. I have already 6 youngsters from him this year.
That's
So
great.
luckily, I thought the end of last year, I thought he was finished because his last 2 eggs were bad. I thought, oh
Oh,
no,
no,
here
yeah,
we go. But probably next year or something, because 11 years is, for my pigeon, it's old.
right.
But he still does it. No, it means nothing that you can't breed out a pigeon that has not raised. It's absolutely not true. It has nothing to do with it.
And Speedy Wonder, you let me have a son of Speedy Wonder that is the sire, the father of the bird I was talking about that won at the Flying D just earlier this year. And so his Speedy Wonder didn't race, and the father, I call him Speedy Serge. Speedy Serge didn't race, but they produce because they have the genetics and they're passing it on through the genetics and crossing
But-
into what I have, and that's what's important.
Yeah, the cock from you. I'll let you pick one.
Yeah.
The most beautiful one you picked. I sent another one to the United States, a beautiful one, and I kept the list. Beautiful one. I only had 3 sons from them. Mine bred winners. Your bred a winner, a good one. And like you said, Speedy Wonder never raced, but the hen I put onto him never raced. She bred the 3rd national ace pigeon all Belgium on the great middle distance at Bamiske. She's a half sister of Speedy Gonzalez, and she never raced. So both parents of yours never raced. The son never raced, and they bred winners again. So it's in the genes, but it doesn't mean you have to select those parents on racing. No.
Right.
If like the son of Speedy Wonder wouldn't breed, I would get rid of him, because then it stops. But they breed. They breed. Yours breed, mine breed.
Continues
third
through
one bred.
generations.
Yeah, they breed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my partner Garrett in Colorado, USA, he had a really good young bird last year that was a son of Speedy Surge as well. So, and this is just our first year of breeding from him. We got him a little bit later in the season, to where we didn't get a ton of stuff out of him yet. But this year I'm getting lots of babies, so I'm excited to continue forward with that. Another big
May I tell a
Yeah.
little thing here?
Go ahead.
Sometimes in the early years, I bought young birds and I raised them. And then sometimes, and I tell the name, I became good friend with Jos Leuris from Ulicota. Very good fancier, Jansen, Hofkes pigeons, very good. I bought 15 young birds, raised them. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And Josh said, how is it possible? I said, I don't know, Josh. I said, you know what? I buy another 15, put them in the stock lot. Oh, they're bred winners, one after another. They're all bred champions. And the 15 first ones I raced, they couldn't fly across the street. So what does it mean? You have to race them? No, I'm never buying any more pigeons that I'm racing. If I buy something, I stock them and I breed from them. Because first of all, with all the problems that we have now, you still have the parents that you pay a lot of money for, and you can try the children. You can try different combination, and you still have everything. I would never, ever buy a loft around the young birds and race them, because at the end of the year, hardly anything's left. I wouldn't do that. Not anymore.
Were you crossing his pigeons into yours, or were you breeding them together?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I always. Maybe you do it too, I don't know. But what I don't understand is that people buy pigeons here and put them together.
Mhm.
I can follow it a little bit because they think they're going to be better. But everything I buy, maybe it's because I have good ones, I cross with mine. I want them to get crossed with mine, and it has to work, because I want to keep my family going. But first of all, I want to keep doing good and winning races. That's my main goal. But what I buy, I cross with mine. I never would say I buy 10 from you and I make 5 pair out of it, and I'll see what I'll get. No. That's not the way I do it.
Yeah, I think some of the more impactful pigeons in the sport have been crosses of really good families of pigeons. It seems to be the way to go about it. It's to cross 2 really good families together. Rick and I touched on that a little bit too, of the success he's had with the different lines that he purchased when he was over there, and crossing them together at CBS. So I think it's an effective way to breed for sure.
all the super champions that we know are crossings.
Mm-hmm.
All the super champions were bred out of crossing.
Right.
And then when they bred a super champion, they start inbreeding them. Do they produce? Yeah, some will produce, but most of all they start inbreeding for selling.
Right.
But I would never. I try some inbreed, but like, to be honest, I took a very good breeder here. I put his own daughter to him, which was first age pigeon, and I bred 4 laybreeds out of him. I killed 3 out of them, 3 out of 4. The 4th one is a fantastic, nice pigeon, and the 3 others were my idea, were junk from 2 good pigeons. But 2 crows, I don't like it. Never liked it. Probably never will like it. And I know some people have success with it, but I think all the good pigeons are born from crosses.
Right. I agree. Well, what about, let's talk about the big accomplishment, since we touched a little bit on one lofts. Let's talk about little Miss Nikki and that bloodline that you got. What's the background on that bird? That, you know, that bird.
That's the background. That's the background of the Van Elsacker pigeons, like I told you, to Rudy de Sade. And Rudy de Sade 10 years ago had a few fantastic national winners, and they did really, really good. And that was bred out of the Star pigeons that I sold to Steve Rick Martin and Steve Martin. And Steve sold it then to Tom Schilling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's his name, eh?
Yeah.
From Little Miss Nikki, yeah.
Yeah.
And he put it to a cock, I think, from Dirk van Dijk, that he also purchased from CBS. And that bred Little Miss Nikki, the winner of the $1 million race in South Africa. But the hen he got from me that I bred, the mother, I bred the mother. And that was pure Van Elsacker through Rudy de Sade.
Got it. That was pretty exciting, I bet, right?
Yeah, fantastic. I never did any good on one of races, but she won that one.
Yeah, yeah.
That was fantastic.
Just a couple more questions and I'll let you go. I know it's getting late there. So my audience has new flyers, it has experienced flyers, some people are in between. If you are a new flyer in 2024 and you had to get started, what advice do you have to someone who's just getting started? What can they do to start out right? Obviously, they have to decide what level of what level they want to compete at. Do they want to win? Do they just want their birds to come home? They have to make those decisions. But for you, if you we're going to start over, what kind of advice can you give to someone who's new?
It depends. I think two matters in your country. What they're going to do, compete in the club or just one-off racing? It's different. Then the second thing that I think is very important is, what's your financial goal? What can you spend without hurting yourself? I would not jump over that. And if you're financially low and you don't have big money to spend, I would go to people that in your area know and try to get friendly with him and try to get pigeons from him and send them to one-off races. I think it's part of a lottery. If you have the money to spend, then I would see and look and see what I can import and see what I can buy and listen to people where they have success with. But it depends on your own situation. I think it depends what you wanted to do. But excuse me, what I learned here is being friends with my club members and being young, being 16, 17 years, learn from those people. And I started on the sprint. I didn't like it. I went to the middle distance. That was my goal. Depends if you one-off races. It's different in your country. Club racing is different. One-off races is different. If you do club racing, I would try to meet the people, try to get the people connect, try to watch some races there, see how they do, see how they take care of their pigeons. Do it to your own possibilities. If you have to go to work all day, don't build a loft like my loft, because you won't get the job done. Build a small loft. Try to do as good work as you can to keep your pigeons as healthy as you can, breed as quality as you can, but don't overdo it. Don't start with 50 breeding pigeons. Start with 10 pairs, and you 10 pairs, 20 youngsters. You will breed easily 70 youngsters a year. That's enough.
Yeah.
And then select hard and see. On one-off races, it's no problem. You send them out and they're gone.
Right.
And then they do the selection for you. But it depends on what's your own possibilities, I think, and what you wanted to achieve. You want to have fun, and that's it. Different matter. Don't spend the money.
Right.
Because if you can't spend the money, then the fun is already gone. Eh?
Yeah, exactly.
It costs a lot of money, but if take care of your pigeons as your own possibilities are. Don't overdo it. Don't like here in Belgium. I would say start with young birds. Raise young birds. See if you can handle it. Then put a few old birds in. If you like old birds more, go to old birds and then breed young birds. Train them, but don't. If you like sprint, go to sprint. If you like middle distance, go to middle distance. Your country is a little bit different because you go up, you have to follow.
Yeah.
You want club racing, different. If I was in your club, I would come to you and say, "Hey Jeff, how are you doing it? Can I watch a little bit?" And try to learn from those people. That's what I advise. And some people have it, some people don't have it, will never have it. But one love racing, if you can breed a pigeon, you can send it.
Yeah.
And it's easy. I think it's easy on that part. The hard part is you have no control about anything.
Right.
And you have nothing. Here in my love, I have control of their health. I have control of their races. I have control. I decide what I'm going to do with them. One love racing, the organizer decide what he's doing with it.
Right.
So you're fully in his hands. So find a good organizer, find people that take care of the pigeons like it should be, and find good one love races. And there's not much advice I can give on that because I have not much experience on that.
Right, right. Well, I think you gave great advice. I think that finding people in your area that are along the same line on the same kind of path that you want to go down, I think that's great advice. Rick was just over there and said that he went to an awards banquet, and was that in the club in Shield?
Yeah, yeah.
That club, by the way, compared to what we have here in the States, is amazing. That clubhouse is awesome. There's plenty of seating. There's a bar with drinks and snacks, and then over to the sides where you actually take your birds to enter, and the crates are there and everything. It's just beautiful. And I was looking around just in awe of it. It's way better than what we have around here. So
yeah, we have a beautiful clubhouse, and we built it ourselves. And it's our property, it's our clubhouse, and we have one of the nicest one in the area, to be honest. But we're really happy with the president. Does a great job. People work hard here. Pigeons are good taken care of, and that's important, and we love it. But we need to have place for 100 people if everybody comes, and if we basket 2 races, especially in the sprint in the beginning, everybody's there. So we need to have room for almost 100 people.
And what awards did you win that night?
I won. I was overall champion. I was king of the club again. I was king in 21, 22, 24. No, not true. 20, 21, 23. I was second in 22. And I was long distance champion. I was second middle distance champion. I had the first 3 ace pigeon middle distance old bird. I had the first ace pigeon middle distance yearling. I had the first ace pigeon long distance old bird. I had the first ace pigeon long distance yearling. And I won a beautiful trophy. Can I show it?
Yes, please. I'd love to see anything you want to show us. Oh, wow. That is beautiful.
That's a nice one.
That's incredible.
That's a nice trophy. And it says,
"Oh, wow.
King of the club and champion." So that's a nice trophy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful trophy. That's incredible. Yes. Congratulations.
Yeah, but you've been here, you saw, I mean, maybe show it to the people.
Sure, please.
You see, those are all the national awards that I throw about 200 trophies away because we can't
have
put them.
Not enough space for it all, right?
These are all the national awards and the provincial awards and the ace pigeons. And like you see, it's
beautiful. Amazing.
Yeah. So I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
Every year I think I hope I'm winning another one because you never know, eh? You never know what season gonna bring, eh? You never know.
Well, when you have the selection and the care that you give the birds and the experience over the years, it's no wonder you're doing what you're doing. And I really appreciate you giving me the time and coming on, and I know the audience is going to love it, and I'd love to have you back on just to keep talking pigeons. I enjoy it, and you're one of the guys I love talking to about it. Is there anything else you want to?
Let's agree that we talk another time in a month or two when the season is going.
Yeah, let's
And
get
we
some
talk
updates.
another night, and we'll see how we going there.
Yeah, let's get some
do
updates.
that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Is there anything you want to talk about or tell us about before we end this?
No, I don't think so. Any more question? Anything you want to know that you're thinking about?
The only thing that I was thinking about that I didn't touch on in the beginning that I wanted to mention before we go is, can you talk about when you all came over here into the States? Because we have that picture and I'll show everybody, but 1990, I was 3 and you and Kirsten were at my house visiting the family and everything. And there's a picture of us together that I'll show. And so can you talk about coming over and all that? And you probably went to see Rick, obviously.
Yeah, we were invited by CBS, but then I think your father was over here a year before, I think in Belgium, but I think, if I'm quite right with my Guinness.
Yes.
Not 100% sure, but I think it was, and he invited me. He said, when you ever come over, visit us. And we were there at CBS watching the race and then making a holiday, and we visited your father and the family, and was a lovely visit.
Right.
And we took some pictures at the Christmas tree, I think, and you were on the picture.
Yeah.
And
pretty crazy.
And then you came over here. My wife said, "I think this is Jeff." So I show you the picture, and it was you. Yes.
Yeah. She still had that. She still had that picture.
You're making your own baby, so.
Yeah. She pulled out the picture, and my mind was blown. It was incredible to see that, and then we get to reunite. I think it's probably 33 years later we got to see each other, 32 years, something like that. So
yeah,
but that's incredible.
Yeah, it was lovely. I think we went horseback riding with your dad.
That's great.
It was great visit. I always love to visit the United States. Really good.
Yeah,
really loved it. And yeah, like you guys love Belgium, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
We love the United States. Come visiting. It's so big for us. Everything is so big there. It's so different than what we have here in Europe. Huh? So
yeah, well, I've taken up enough of your time for now. I appreciate you coming on, and we'll talk again here soon, get an update on how everything's going with the old birds and how you're getting with the young birds. And can't thank you enough. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Okay.
All right. Well, we'll see you on the next one, Serge. Thank you again.
Okay. Thanks, Jeff.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.